All right, welcome to Automate 2026. If you're wondering where this noise is coming from, this is the Intrinsic booth. My name is Torsten Kroeger. I'm the Chief Science Officer at Intrinsic. And it's my great pleasure to actually have the first booth talk here at our booth. And I have fantastic guests from our partner FANUC. But before introducing Claude and Rick, I want to say a few words about the theme that we're going to be discussing today. And I want to start with Automate last year, which was in Detroit. And I was on a panel with a couple of folks from the industry, and we were discussing physical AI. And at the time, it seemed, what is that? Is this coming? Is this not coming? There was some uncertainty. And now we're here 1 year later, and this entire floor is screaming physical AI. So let's focus on that theme, and let's have a conversation, and let's talk about what Intrinsic and FANUC, what we are doing together. And it's really an honor. Let me start with Claude. Claude has been with FANUC for 41 years.
That's right.
And has been leading research and development. And then Rick, we have been working together for the past couple of years. We're going to talk about that later as well.
Yes, that's correct.
So why don't you start by introducing yourselves and say a few words about yourselves before we dive in.
Yeah, I'm Claude Dinsmoor. I'm Vice President of Research and Development at FANUC America. We have the largest group of product engineers working on R&D in the United States, and it's totally focused at industrial robots. So we've been very long-term vested in this market. As Torsten said, I've been here for 41 years, and the actual organization, FANUC's more than 50 years old, and 50 years in the U.S. So we've been here with a presence for quite a long time, and it's really nice to see the resurgence of robotics, because I've been here so long, I saw the first wave, which was the idea that you could actually get something that could start to approach what a person can do. And now we're into the next phase. So that's what makes physical AI and the discussion and the work with that Intrinsic's doing and all of our partners so important, because we're really taking automation, I feel, to the next level.
Okay, and my name is Rick Wunderlick. I'm a newbie at FANUC. I've only been there 27 years. So in relation to my boss, Claude, I'm in charge of all the software at FANUC. I've been kind of in the backgrounds, mostly just making sure what Claude's direction's been set for that we follow up on. The latest wave, as Claude says, is basically the physical AI wave, right? The ROS2 driver, our relationship with Intrinsic just recently, making sure that we have the software that makes sure the robot moves as fast as it can move without basically tearing the robot up. So happy to be here. Thanks.
Thank you both for taking the time. It's an honor to have an entity in the industry here with us at the booth. Coming back to physical AI. So like I said, it's moving very fast. Like just a year ago, I don't think, at least from my perspective, I was expecting it to go so fast. Even over the past 6 months, we've seen another acceleration. And then thanks to platforms like ours, which are becoming more and more reliable, if you now think of integrating FANUC software and Intrinsic software, open source tools like there's ROS, Gazebo, OpenRMF, which are strongly supported by both companies. Like FANUC is making a big bet on ROS. Intrinsic has a key role in developing the ROS ecosystem. So looking at the AI workflows, and from your vision, like what is your vision in this space moving forward? Looking at the partnership, but also specifically, and I know you're emphasizing that over and over again, what's the value for the customer? Like from a customer's perspective, how do you see the vision of the partnership and the benefits for the customer?
I think Torsten, that's a really good question, because at the end of the day, it's all about solving problems. And the idea of for us, the pillars of open source, which has really opened up the capability of more people to apply the robot. And with Intrinsics being integral to the open source movement for robotics, it's great. But now with the ability to have industrially proven platforms that run on top of our industrially proven robots, it becomes very powerful. The other thing is what we love are partners, because deploying robots at scale or even at one or two, it takes people to help to work with. And we're very proud to be able to work with Intrinsic and our other valued partners who are also working with NVIDIA on helping to provide that infrastructure that makes physical AI a possibility and go from the possibility to the reality phase. So again, very much appreciate the opportunity to talk. And I think it's a really exciting time. A year ago, as Torsten said, it was just this idea of physical AI, and now it's showing up everywhere.
Anything to add, Rick?
I think one of the key things that I see Intrinsic bringing is it lowers basically everybody's fear, I would say. I think that what you're bringing is the reliability of how you can safely deploy AI. I think there's a lot of people out there that basically have this, oh my gosh, it's AI, what is that all about? Is it gonna, I think that was in the keynote this morning with Mike and all that. Is it gonna destroy everything? Is it safely gonna operate the way it's supposed to operate? I think that with your software and other people's software like the NVIDIA stack and that it's opening people's eyes that it is a safe deployable platform that people can use. So
I thank you, and I obviously I do agree. But one challenge that we're obviously still seeing is it's with AI very easy to get to like a 90%, 95% type of solution, but then getting to the level that we need in this industry, that remains a challenge. And I believe this is one of the pieces we're bringing to the table together that customers are really benefiting from. If you and both of you have been in this industry for very long. If you look at the way robots are being programmed, and if you think back maybe just 10 years ago, not to say 30 years ago, robots were programmed by engineers, and it was a very different philosophy compared to what we're seeing today with physical AI. And if you then look at, you mentioned flow state, how you program with flow state versus how you program with Carol, or any other robot programming language, it's a vastly different concept. So if you now combine these blocks and the skills concept that the Intrinsic platform bring to the table, how do customers perceive that? Because it's a paradigm shift. Like the way we used to program robots for many years is now changing to become AI ready, and to just enable new applications, for example, in the space of assembly, as we can see it here at the booth, where things are not pre-programmed anymore. What do customers think, and how do you bring customers along?
Well, with that, I guess, like I said earlier, I think it lowers that barrier of having to have specialized people. Having people that have specific knowledge, like you said, programming a robot in the past has always been either using our Carol or using TP. It required a lot of skill set, specialized skill set. Now that you have these skills already built in, templates and things that people can use, I think that will enable them and make them more comfortable to deploy it. And it will free up. I mean, yeah, 90% to 98% is a big jump. But if you can at least get people to turn systems over quicker, to be able to engineer quicker, I think that will go a long way as far as them being able to adopt the technology, accept it, and then move forward. So,
and just kind of amplifying that, things that help you deploy the robot faster pay off, because it still takes time. You've got limited resources, most places, where do you want to spend your time? So if you can get to that 90%, you still have to engineer the last 10%, but I got there faster. So now I have more time to engineer it. When we bring in simulation along with that, the fact that I can predict how the robot's going to behave before I deploy it, and then take that down, that's the other time saver. So having a completely integrated environment that you can go through all the phases is becoming increasingly more important, even for small systems. Before, we kind of reserved that for large production lines, but now we're realizing, no, those benefits, everybody benefits.
Yeah, I was going to say the digital twin aspect. The digital twin aspect is very important as well, as Claude mentioned. People can actually, as you said, try different behaviors with it to see what's going to happen, and then prove those out. So, virtual commissioning, digital twin, it's all wrapped up into the same thing. So it's getting to market quicker with more confidence.
you mentioned smaller businesses, and if you think of like mom and pop shops who typically don't have a robot programmer on site, no one on staff who would even be able to program a robot. Now, with this trend that we're discussing here, these mom and pop shops might not be, let's say, the big automotive players or the big electronics players where you think of large quantities of robots that are being deployed at once. You might get 1 or 2 orders, or maybe 3, but therefore you do not only have 1 or 2 or 3 of those players, you have hundreds or thousands. How do you see the customer perspective there? How do you see the market shift, especially when it comes to, let's say, machine shops and very small machine shops as well, versus the large players? If you think of in the automotive industry, if you think of GM or Ford, we're partnering with Foxconn in the electronics industry. Where do you see the differences between the SMEs, the very small ones, versus the very big ones?
So I think if we break it down, like you're saying, from the small business people, I think it gives them the opportunities to be able to, like you said, have these skills. They don't have to have the necessary knowledge of how to tweak everything right away. With your skill sets, with Intrinsic, it provides that capabilities for them. So it's like accessibility for them. It opens up the gateway, or lowers the barriers for them to be able to quickly adapt for new things that are coming into their system. The machine tending that you have, or the assembly tasks that you have, those are great skills, and they maybe don't have to modify those very much, but they can just use them out of the box with that. For system integrators, I think it's the ease of use and being able to basically take a cell and duplicate that cell over and over again. So there's that opportunity cost right there, that they can take that. They make the same cell, they make it many times, right? So now they can take this and they can learn. So it opens up the barriers for them that maybe a lot of people that have system integrators, or even the small to medium companies, even large enterprise companies, they might not have a lot of AI people on staff, right? They can start to use this software and understand with the skills and be able to extend that. So being able to reuse and make your own skills from that's impressive to be able to do that. And for the large enterprise people, I guess, you don't have to throw out what you have, right? You can take what you have for already existing lines and then maybe apply this new technology and open up new aspects of assembly or manufacturing process that's available. So you can reuse the asset that you have, the equipment that you have, the robots especially, and then basically take this new skill set with Intrinsic and apply that to new operations that you have to perform on that line.
Along those lines, if you think of the partnership and the combination of FANUC robots with Intrinsic flow state and really that combination, are there specific customer advantages that you would like to highlight, or that you would like to say, hey, this is really something new, enabling, and creates a lot of value?
Well, I think one of the things with the partnership, it's really two organizations that think very similarly and with the same orientation towards the customer. FANUC robots historically and worldwide are known for reliability. We are everywhere, and we're everywhere because the robots work and we provide service for life. As long as you plan to use the robot, you can continue to use it. When we're partnering in an environment where, with what Intrinsic can add, it allows you to deploy those robots, then it's increasing the usability. It also, with the orientation towards open source, it's allowing you to build on a firm foundation. That it doesn't just have to be things that Intrinsic does. It's now open to the community. So as new things come up, that's a way to amplify. We've seen a big area. When you think about investment in automation, it's usually a long-term investment. So if you've got something that you know will work, has got strong partners to make sure it can work, and then has a growth path, suddenly it becomes extremely valuable, because all the time and all the effort you put into it isn't lost. It's building a foundation.
And in fact, we had that conversation right before this panel. This is going to be a long-term game, and doing the foundations right is going to be really, really key. And I think this is what we both have signed up for together. And from on the technical front, like, we have been now collaborating for 2-3 years, I think, is when the conversations started, and we started specifically around the stream motion interface, and this is still an ongoing conversation. And like you said, FANUC is really known for the longevity of the robots. If you now look at more and more AI tools, and I would almost make a distinction between AI tools that we use during runtime. That's what you're seeing here at the booth, for example, AI models for perception, for grasp planning, for motion planning, and for manipulation, versus how AI accelerates the development at large. Think of coding agents, for example, and you can pick your favorite coding agents. Are you restructuring your engineering processes, or maybe even restructuring the org to some extent, to make sure you can stay on top of this new trend? And the reason I'm asking this is coming back to the introduction. Like a year ago, it was a different landscape, and within the past, I would even say 6-7 months is when a step change happened. What is FANUC's thinking here in order to make sure, when it comes to innovation, AI models, to stay on top of the stack?
Well, historically, we've been very specific and very determined on the support for our robots and the support for the software. We've added to that, though, and it really started when we started doing collaborative robots, of picking up a pace that can allow us to inject new functions, new features at a much higher rate, keeping up with the enhancements we were seeing in the industry. We've added to that with our ability to support Python, ROS 2. We're now able to release and support at the community speed. It's not just our speed, but it's everyone's speed. So we've really seen that. And we're keeping all three levels, because for historic applications, for areas we do today, great stability, we've got definite cadences, faster turnaround when we move into collaborative robots, because the feature sets are changing more rapidly in the expectations, keeping up with that. And then the third area is keeping up, basically doing new releases, new things at the speed of the community.
I would like to come back to customers. The industry, or large part of the industry, is known to be very conservative. And there's this theme that I believe every one of us keeps hearing: never change a running system. So once you have a system deployed with a customer, and the customer is happy, you don't want to touch it again. At the same time, when it comes to AI models, given the pace, we're seeing improvements when it comes to perception, when it comes to grasp planning, motion planning, at some point quality. How do you feel if let's say, through better and better AI models, higher and higher performance, more and more throughput, shorter and shorter cycle times, how do customers react to that? Because if you ship a system and they never change it again, obviously for the next, let's say, 7 years or whatever the lifetime of the system is, they will not benefit from the developments in AI, versus, to your point, updating this at a much higher rate. And also, how can customers benefit from that over time, especially given the high pace in the industry at the moment?
Well, it's a good question. So I think a lot of it has to be with, can you prove to the customer ahead of time with the software that there's going to be improvement and what that improvement's going to be? So as you said earlier, if you're taking 90% system and then you're taking and raising that up, that's a throughput improvement that they're going to buy off on and be able to use. So it comes down to, how do you convince the customer with the software, with the digital twin capabilities that you have, that what you're running out there, I can bring it in and I can elevate it. With this new AI model, I have, like you said, a better pose estimation or grasp capability that improves the cycle time. I think with a lot of, they should be able to see that benefit from that, and with that digital twin, and let's take the data that you have and let's watch it run in this environment.
And again, the techniques we've had to date of put it in and don't touch it work in a static environment. But as you're improving, or after you have to make changes, now you've got the opportunity to apply it. So I think it's actually going to increase the capabilities, because if you're set, everything's running well, you're sitting here at your reliability rates, throughput rates that match your production needs, don't touch it. But if you need to have more, now you're not tearing the system out and re-engineering. You're able to incrementally improve it and do it in a controlled fashion. So I think that's an area we really haven't had. Before, the minute I touch it and I say I've got to change it, now it's a re-engineering. I think with the new combination of validated models, regular release cycles, and ways to simulate, so you're taking a lot of the risk out of it. I think it's going to change maybe the what people think about when they start to deploy production systems, because we haven't had that option. Last 40 years, that's not been the option. It's been build it, make sure it works, and move on. Now you can come back and maybe see some more benefits. That's rather incredible. It's almost like the promise that PCs were made, when PCs first came out. I could always expand it. I could add more RAM. I could add more hard disk. Maybe we're heading into a date that now actually becomes a possibility, at least for some automation systems.
So when you say you put it out there and you don't touch it, that might not be the small mom and pop or those kinds of systems. If you're starting to go deeper into that area, then there's more mix. With the more mix, there's the more opportunity that they might be able to see with this software, with the capabilities being growing over time, right? So I think there's opportunities there so that you can prove to them that, yeah, you put a system in, but with that system, over time, things improve, as you said, either the AI, frontier model or whatever it is, the grasp, that they might be able to have more turnover. They might have more job capability that they can perform now. They might take on more work. So
that is, and I really like that, and we think very, very much along the very same lines. We do believe it's important to bring customers along because of this paradigm shift. Is FANUC doing any special trainings, or do you have any special activities to bring maybe especially the older school customers, bring them along? Maybe even something here at Automate that you're offering, or maybe trainings that you have on site, be it here in the US, be it in Japan, or even in Europe.
Well, we've got, here in the US, we've got the largest network of schools that we've partnered with to train on industrial robotics. We're up over 17 or 1,800 schools, that's like high school level, college, university level, that are giving people the skills and really normalized training to understand how industrial robotics. And we're actively working on curriculum for AI. Matter of fact, I'll be speaking tomorrow on a panel where we talk about that very issue. And the interesting thing is, it's not just about AI, it's really about the capabilities and the skills you need to deploy robots and support robots. And they come together. Because if we can build the base, and then I've got better tool chains, AI will come along with it. So it won't necessarily be AI for AI's sake. In some models, it will be how to better deploy a robot, how to get trained on what an industrial robot becomes. And then what's going to happen is, with better AI capabilities, it's going to really change maybe the focus. Less of the programming and the interface to more, how do I utilize skills that exist within the software and within the entire environment.
Yeah, I would just say it's been a year when we released our ROS 2. So we really have taken a great leap in FANUC software. So the engineers at FANUC and our development group have worked endlessly just to try to get to the point where we're at right now. And working with your engineers, is a great opportunity for us to even take it farther, right? We're about enablers. How do we make the robot an enabler for your type of platform software for people to do what they need to do out there? So we might have solutions with AI in it, but the robot itself is more about interfaces and open platform, which is what we're demonstrating at the show here and what you're demonstrating there. So it's about openness now. FANUC's always been known for being, closed, but we're kind of switching that now, and I think that's paying off for us.
And here again, we're in the very same boat. I know we're at time, so I need to find a way to wrap up, but I would like to double down on what you just said, Rick. The collaboration that we're having in developing these interfaces, starting with the ROS2 driver for FANUC robots and improving the stream motion interface. This is not something where FANUC and Intrinsic will benefit. Of course, we benefit as well, but this is really for the community, for everyone here on the show floor, the ROS community in particular, but really the industry at large that will be able to benefit from this if we get this right. This is why I believe it's so important to get the foundations right, to get to the performance that people will need when it comes to physical AI in the short run,
Agreed.
mid run, and long run. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take the opportunity to thank you all for your time, for your attention, and would like to thank Claude and Rick one more time for their time here as well, to spend the time with us, answer questions, and we're really excited about the partnership. This is, like I said, not going to be over anytime soon. We want to make sure that we're in here for the long run, have great relations, and bring customers along. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Torsten. Yep.
Yep, thanks.